Have you ever held a fresh homemade loaf of bread? It's warm, soft, slightly crackly on the outside, and you feel just a little proud. But what if I told you that making bread is one of the oldest and simplest cooking skills in human history, and that anyone, yes, anyone, can do it? Today, we're diving into the story, the science, and the step-by-step process of making real bread at home. Let's start at the beginning. Bread isn't just food, it's history. Some of the earliest evidence of bread making comes from over 14,000 years ago, before agriculture even began. People crushed wild grains, mixed them with water, and cooked the paste on hot stones. It was rustic, dense, and flat, but it was the beginning of something huge. Bread became the backbone of civilizations. In ancient Egypt, they discovered fermentation by accident. Someone left out a wet mix of flour and water, and wild yeast got in. Instead of spoiling, it bubbled. It rose, it baked into a soft, puffy loaf. That accident gave us leavened bread, the stuff we dream of when we picture a bakery. So how do we make it today? Let's break down the basics of bread. You only need 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and yeast. That's it. Not baking soda, not eggs, not sugar. Just 4 things, but when they come together with time and care, they create something almost magical. Let's talk flour. Bread flour, all-purpose flour, whole wheat, what's the difference? Bread flour has more protein, usually around 12–14%. That protein becomes gluten when mixed with water. Gluten gives bread its stretch, chew, and structure. All-purpose flour has slightly less protein, but it still works fine for most loaves. Whole wheat flour includes the bran and germ of the wheat, making it heavier, more nutritious, and slightly more bitter. You can mix it with white flour for the best of both worlds. Now water, it activates the gluten and feeds the yeast. But did you know the temperature of the water can actually change how fast your dough rises? Too cold and the yeast goes to sleep. Too hot and you'll kill it. Aim for water that's around body temperature, warm but not hot. Then comes yeast. You can use active dry yeast, instant yeast, or even wild yeast, aka sourdough starter. Active dry yeast needs to be proofed in warm water before use. Instant yeast can go right in with your dry ingredients. And sourdough, that's its own world, but more on that later. Finally, salt. It's not just for flavor. Salt strengthens the gluten, regulates yeast activity, and keeps the dough from rising too fast. Leave it out and your bread will taste flat and rise weird. So you've got your ingredients. What's next? It's time to mix and knead. When flour and water meet, gluten forms. Kneading stretches and aligns those gluten strands into a network that traps gas and holds shape. Think of kneading as the backbone of your loaf. Too little and your bread collapses. Too much and it can become tough. But there's a secret. You don't always need to knead. Some no-knead recipes rely on time and hydration to do the work for you. Still, traditional kneading is a joy. It connects you to the dough, to history, to patience. After kneading, we rest. This is the first rise or fermentation. Place the dough in a bowl, cover it, and let it rise in a warm spot. Over the next hour or two, yeast eats the sugars in the flour and produces gas. That gas, mostly carbon dioxide, makes your dough puff up. It's alive, but something else is happening too. As it ferments, the dough develops flavor. The longer the rise, the deeper the taste. Now after the first rise, you punch down the dough to release gas. Then you gently shape it, round for bulleyes, oblong for batards, or in a pan for sandwich loaves. Let it rest again. This second rise, or proofing, lets the shaped dough relax and puff up one last time. Proofing can take 30 minutes to over an hour, depending on room temperature and recipe. You can even cold-proof bread in the fridge overnight for even better flavor and structure. Time to bake. But first, slash the top with a sharp blade. This is called scoring, and it lets the bread expand as it bakes. Without it, it might burst at random weak spots. Bake in a hot oven, usually between 220 degrees Celsius to 250 degrees Celsius, about 425–480 degrees Fahrenheit. Steam in the first 10–15 minutes is key. It keeps the crust soft enough to expand before setting. Professional bakers use steam injectors at home. Just toss ice cubes in a hot tray or spray water into the oven. After 30–45 minutes, your bread is done. Golden, fragrant, and utterly satisfying. Let it cool. Seriously. Bread keeps cooking after it's out of the oven. Cutting it too soon can mess with texture and flavor. Wait at least 30 minutes. It's worth it. Then, slice, smell, taste, smile. Now that you know the basics, let's talk variations. Want more depth? Try sourdough. This wild fermented bread uses no commercial yeast, just flour, water, and time. You grow a starter by mixing flour and water and feeding it daily. Within days, wild yeast and bacteria colonize it. Sourdough is more complex, tangy and chewy, and easier to digest for many people. Want sweet bread? Add sugar, butter, or eggs. Think brioche, challah, cinnamon rolls. Want hearty bread? Add whole grains, seeds, oats, or nuts. Want color? Try beetroot puree, turmeric, or even squid ink. Bread is a blank canvas. You are the artist. And here's a twist. Even the way you store your bread affects its quality. Plastic bags keep it soft but can make the crust soggy. Paper or cloth keeps the crust crisp, but the inside may dry out faster. Never refrigerate bread, it stales faster. Instead, eat within 3 days, or slice and freeze the rest. And now, let's step back. You just learned something ancient, hands-on and quietly powerful. Making bread slows you down. It invites patience. You knead with your hands, you wait, you watch, you smell. It's not instant, and that's the point. In a world of noise and rush, baking bread brings you back to earth. So the next time you buy a loaf, think of the baker, the flour dust, the rising bowl, the hot oven. Or better yet, make one yourself. It might just change your day. Follow for more mind-blowing facts.